share?
All right, all right, all right. Cool. So this is the credit version. I'm gonna be giving some quick credit tips today, guys. So again, real casual, real laid back format. But again, as you see behind me, the retirement 2.0 strategies. A couple of people asked me some questions in one of the groups that I'm in about business credit cards. So again, I'm gonna give some high level stuff. I'm not going deep into the weeds on this, but I'm gonna show you a couple of things you can do when you want to go for business credit. Now, as you know, before you go for business credit, it is always a prudent idea to have your personal credit in line, because a lot of times before your company really scales and you can get corporate credit, you typically have to have what's called a PG, which is a personal guarantee. That means they're going to look at your personal social to make sure if your business can't pay this bill back, they can come to you to pay it back. So again, don't just jump out there and start trying to get business credit if you don't have good personal credit. Use your personal credit to leverage more business credit. And I see some people out there teaching when you go out there and you get these personal credit cards and you start kind of running them up a little bit, get some of these business cards, transfer the debt from the personal card to the business card. Now it essentially hides your personal utilization. When you do that, that increases your credit score. Okay, so what that also does, it shows that you have utilization, you've used the cards, you transfer that. So now your business stuff doesn't report to the personal. So that's some high level stuff right there. But again, one of the right out the gate, let me give you guys this hack, if you will, when you are applying for credit. And this can work for business and it can also work for personal. Typically, what do we do when we want a credit card? We go to Chase Bank, right? We'll go to Chase Bank. We're going to fill out this credit card application. We click send, we wait, approve, great, give me my card, right? That's typically what we do. It works. But one of the things you want to do is you want to research what card pulls from what bureau. This is really important. We know there's 3 major bureaus out there. So we got TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, right? Not all companies pull from the same bureau. Okay, and I'm gonna do a quick screen share because it's really, really simple to figure out who's doing what. I said I'm gonna do a screen share. So we'll see. All right, let me go to my second monitor over here. Let me pop this off. Let me know when y'all can see the screen share.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so you see all this. So clearly I've done this search a time or two before, right? So I can come down here and say, all right, I want to apply for Chase. Let me see what we're working with. So Chase uses Experian. Cool. That's good to know. The reason why that's good to know, let me see if I can log into my Experian. So I'm gonna show you guys what I'm in. I do not mind showing you my personal credit score. The boy had to put some work in. I got a VPN on, so I don't know if it'll let me log in or not. But if so, cool, we're good to go. And again, as I'm going through this, man, if y'all have any kind of questions or whatever, feel free to pop in there. If I can get them answered, I will. If not, then I'll figure out the answer, try to point you in the right direction forward.
Hey Jeff, I got a question for you, and I literally been, and actually me and Jesse was talking about this yesterday, matter of fact.
Okay.
For business credit, where's the best place to go here to see your actual business credit score?
Okay, good. I'll pop in and I'll show you that in a second, but it really depends on what you have. Experian, NAV, NAV, and Duns and Bradstreet. Experian, NAV, Duns and Bradstreet. Okay, those are the 3. And then Equifax has a business version as well, I believe. But typically for me,
they do.
On the Experian side, I use the Experian business side, or I log into my Duns and Bradstreet because it'll show me everything. And there's another one. Good gosh, not Duns and Bradstreet. Oh man, I can't even think of it right now. It might come to me. Dang, I don't know. I can't even think of it right now. All right, so we see right here, 800 credit score. I'm only using 4% of my credit. And again, I think on the personal side, man, I don't even know how much personal credit I have now because all my cards are not showing up on here. Okay, no big deal. So we see here 800 credit score. I don't have these open, but the last time it was for TransUnion, It was 803. Okay, and then 784 with Equifax. Equifax always lags for some odd reason. I have no idea why, but it does. I mean, everything else can shoot up, and Equifax is just chilling right there. Like, I'll think about it, right? All right. So the reason why you want to know which bureaus pull, because think about how it works when you're going for personal or business credit, right? What typically happens? You're going to get inquiries, and a lot of times we want to keep these inquiries as low as possible because you don't want to like you're shopping credit around, because now credit bureaus are like, or credit card companies might be like, well, what's going on? I've seen this person just apply for 17 credit cards. What's really good, right? So when you figure out which bank pulls from where, let's say right now your Equifax and your TransUnion are lower. Let's say you like in the 720, 730 range. Not bad, or maybe even lower than that, and your experience is a lot higher. Who do you think I want to go get some credit from? Probably any, any bank or any service that uses Experian. All right, Amex, who they working with? Experian, cool. That's good to know. So maybe I don't need to run up pools on Experian when I'm doing this. Let's see. Let me think. Bank of America and see who Bank of America working with. It was a storm here today, so I have no idea why this is still even churning over here. Capital One. Experian might be hitting a lot of people up. Okay. Cap One can pull from any one of them. That's good to know. Bank of America might use Experian as well. All right, Uncle Jesse. I just had to let somebody in the room real quick. All right, so these are Experian. So now we can also say, what bureau? Oh, that was Citizens Bank. Navy Federal. Okay, Navy Federal can hit either one of them. All right, so a lot of this stuff is just trying to figure out what. Let's see. What credit cards pull from TransUnion? We're definitely not trying to get Walgreens. All right, what banks? All right, so again, I guess there's some certain cards that will pull from TransUnion. Anyway, so the whole idea is you want to figure out who the companies are pulling from. Then it's really easy. I want you to open up 3 tabs or 4 tabs, however many you're going to apply for. It's better if you do it in an incognito browser so they can't trace what's happening, right? Now you want to practice this a few times. So you want to come over here, maybe you want to go to Amex. Okay, then you want to go to Chase. Chase Bank. Then all right, so essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply for all of these cards at the same time. Because when you do this at the exact same time, it does not have enough time to hit the system to let anybody know that you were doing this at the same time. Now, if your credit is shot, we need to work on that first, right? Okay, don't go out there if you got some bad credit already and start trying to run up your inquiries doing this, right? So pull up this and figure out which card you're gonna go you're gonna go with, right? You can go over here and find the right card. And again, this works for business or personal. You also want to make sure you do not have your credit bureaus frozen, because if you have them frozen, what happens is they got to verify. So they got to call you and make sure that you actually was the person who authorized this, and that's going to slow the process. So you come over here and figure out which card that you want, right? For me, I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I would probably say the Reserve is going to be a better fit for you, depending on what you want. Okay, so whether you have the Reserve, the Capital One Venture X, I think it's called, and the Amex Platinum, these are going to be your higher end cards that can give you a lot of benefits, especially if you like to travel, right? So again, you're getting bonus points out the gate. After you spend $4,000, you're gonna get $750 in travel, and I can show you how to easily hit this 4,000 really, really quickly, right? $100 annual fee. So when you want to go through and put all your personal information in, don't submit it yet. Then you want to come over here to Amex, right? Do the exact same thing. We're doing business cards. Get everything ready. Once you get that done, come over here. Sorry, my dog is in the back coughing up right now. Oh, I'm tripping. Credit cards. Now, it's also good to have different mixes. Maybe you have a cashback card, maybe you have a travel card on one of them, and maybe you find one with a 0% APR. A lot of times with your business cards, it's really easy to get some of those 0% APRs, which is gonna be good if you're trying to hide your utilization, okay? To hide your utilization, you're taking what's on the personal card, you're doing the balance transfer to that 0%. Boom. This is something that people have been doing for a long time. I know people who open cards every 18 months or so. Whenever that 0% runs out, they're going to find another one, right? They do not mind doing that because they want to make sure they can keep transferring this balance to keep it down. The best thing to do is to find a way to pay this stuff off as fast as possible using leverage, because hopefully if you are getting the credit, then you're actually doing it from a leveraging standpoint, not just because you have a shopping addiction. Okay, I do not advocate for that whatsoever. So again, figure out exactly which cards you want, pull up all the browsers, and then once you get everything ready, you go through and execute, execute, execute. And again, think about what's happening. You might get 15,000 at Chase Bank, and then you might get another 7,000 at Citibank, depending on which American Express card you get. If you get the platinum, okay, it's different. It's more like a charge card. So you might not have a preset limit like you would with another card, but you'll have a spending limit. So like if I log into my American Express right now, I can check my spending limit, right? So I can come over here and say, all right, what am I working with Amex? So if I log in, oh, I'm in the incognito browser. They don't have my information saved. Oh. All right. Let's do it like this. These windows out. So you see, check your credit score, figure out which one's going to be the highest. And a lot of your credit card companies, they actually have credit reporting inside of them. So for me, I have 3 different American Express cards. Now, some of these cards, like Bank of America, for example, Bank of America has this whole thing to where you can apply for 2 cards with 1 hit. So let's say you wanted to get a business and a personal at the exact same time. You can. Or maybe you wanted to get 2 business cards. So you can actually do that with 1 inquiry. That's clutch. So now all of a sudden, when you think about what I just told you, if you got 3 browsers up, and you know one of them is Bank of America, or maybe you do up a 4th one of Bank of America, that's 5 cards you can get right now with only 4 inquiries. Okay, and again, it's only going to be 1 inquiry on Experian, 1 on TransUnion, 1 on Equifax, or 2 on Experian if you're going through Bank of America and they pull from your Experian. So think about what I just told you right now. Out the gate, depending on how good your credit is, you might get $40,000 to $100,000 plus worth of funding just with that move alone, okay? All right, now I'm not gonna take a look at that. All right, so we see right now, I can go ahead and pay this whole thing off. I don't have any payments due right now, but I can check my spending power, okay? So when I check my spending power, it's not a credit pool. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt me whatsoever to figure out if I wanted to come in here and I wanted to go make a large purchase, what am I working with? That's all this thing is doing. It's going to let me know what we are working with. Any questions so far?
Nope, not on my end.
Okay. So let's say I wanted to do some marketing or whatever the case may be. I come in here, click submit, boom, good news. I'll be approved for a $40,000 purchase just like that. No questions asked, right? Now, depending on how you have your Amex stuff set up, you can get a business card and you can add a personal card on there as well as an authorized user. So think about some of you who maybe you want to put your wife in position to leverage credit. Add her on as an authorized user, and all of a sudden now you can hit some of these bonuses a lot faster. And again, it's always a prudent thing to maybe put your spouse on payroll if you can. Now, this is on my Blue Cash card, okay? Blue Cash card. So $3,400. My minimum payment on this is $35. My credit limit is $25,000 on this. Okay. Now, some of these, like my Navy Federal, for example, I have an $18,000 limit with Navy Federal. Every 91 days, I can go in there and I can request new funding. I can say, you know what, hey, I want to increase. Now, a lot of times they won't increase if you're not really spending money. So you want to go out and use this. Okay. Now, again, I'm not going to touch on manufacturer spending on this call, but it's a way for you to go ahead and hit these bonuses and start maxing out your card using manufacturer spending. And when you do that, naturally what happens is the credit card company says, this dude got an $18,000 limit, and they've hit this $18,000 limit twice in a month. We probably need to raise this up. And all of a sudden you start getting organic raises. They don't ask you for it. They just give it to you. Like I logged on one day and said, Bank of America just gave me a $9,000 raise and I ain't even asked for it. Okay, that's a good position to be in. And again, what you can also do with Amex, they have this partnership with Cabbage. Again, Cabbage is a business lending organization. So if you want to have a business line of credit as opposed to a business credit card, hop on there, put your credentials in, put your tax information in. It's a little more invasive, so to speak, than a credit card because it's a whole different swag. Now, you see underneath my business platinum, I have a business, not a personal, technically it's an employee card. So this is my Amex Gold right here. I can do the exact same thing under my Blue Cash. I can come in here and say, you know what? I want a employee platinum card as well, as opposed to a business platinum card. And then again, you can just run up the bag on all these. So some of these transactions that you see in here are actually from the personal card. So again, this is how you can go in here and you can use Amex and leverage the Amex system. Once you get inside the American Express ecosystem, it's a lot easier for you to get future cards. Okay, you start seeing promotions. Like when I first logged in, again, I didn't even take the time to read it, but it's saying, listen, we'll give you 160,000 points if you add 2 more employees or something like that, and they spend $4,000 within a certain amount of time. Now, another thing you can do, credit boards. This is a site that you can actually go to help you out a lot, okay? So go to creditboards.com, come down here, click on credit pools, okay? And again, you see here, there are 184,000 members in here. So you have a lot of data that's being pushed into this website. What I like about it is, let's say you are in Texas, since we was talking about Texas earlier. All right, Texas. And we want to figure out, CRA is credit reporting agencies. We want to select all 3. And I want to figure out in the last, I don't know, 90-ish days or so, what has been going on? Like what kind of stuff people have been able to do. So it's going to let me know what people are doing from a credit standpoint and where I might need to be looking, okay? So we can see here, this person applied on May the 18th, got the Chase IHG Traveler card, credit limit 25,000. Comments, he had 3 other Chase cards with $114,000 in credit lines, okay? So they're giving you some of their data points. This person had an 820 credit score, all right? So over here, I'm not sure if maybe that's First National Bank. Soft pull, site approved, super low. All right, 720. They got 7,500. So you can go through here and you can figure out what's going on. Again, I only chose 2 states, right? Think about what happens if I go in here and I open this thing up and say, all right, give me a range of states. I can keep the dates the same. Then you can also say, all right, I want to only see who's gotten approved. All right. And again, now all of a sudden, my list is a bit longer now. So the more you open up your window of company or states rather, the more searches you're going to have. And this is 34,000 records that we have in here. Navy Federal Platinum, South Carolina, approved 767, got approved $25,000. All right. It applied on Saturday, got approved on Monday in the morning. Wells Fargo cash, $20,000. So again, this thing will help you out a lot because now you can get an idea of like, all right, who's lending stuff in my state, right? Because maybe in one of these states that's trying to crack down on lending and they ain't really doing too much. Figure out what's going on, and now you can see it. But what I also like is the comments, instant approval, no hard credit pull. That's clutch when you hear stuff like that, because what some of these websites do, like for example, Navy Federal, and I think Amex does it as well, they allow you to do a soft pull. That means it does not hit your credit report. And you can see if you're going to be approved and ideally what you might be approved for. Okay, so that's another little hack you can do. Again, make sure you have your your personal funding in place first before you go for business. Any questions on that? Okay, on the screen, somebody about to chime in? All right, these are 14 no personal guarantee business cards, okay? Divvy works a little differently, man. So like Divvy is more like a charge card, meaning you might have access to $18,000, for example. Well, if you take that whole 18,000 out, your bank account is automatically connected to it. So that means 1 month out, they're going to take that $18,000 right out of your bank account. So if you do not have that money in there, please do not go out and use Divvy like that. It has its place, but it's not an actual credit card, in my opinion. It's more of a charge card. Now, they give me a physical card and I can go swipe that. I do have a limit, which I know what it is, but again, it's not a revolving thing. So it's not like, yo, I'm only going to pay $1,000 on this 18,000. I'm gonna let this thing float out there. That's not the move. Okay. Again, some of these you need to have a lot of money in your bank account to go get them, right? And some of these might seem a little bit high, but when you start to understand manufacturer spending, for example, I can go in here and say, you know what? Let me get this $100,000 and manufacture for my credit cards, put it in my bank, then go apply. Because some of these, just like Divvy, they want you to sign into your bank account so they can actually see if you actually have money coming into your account, right? Now, one of the things that I've seen people do on the business side is I've seen people literally take withdrawals out of their bank and deposit cash, take withdrawals out of their bank and deposit cash. And I've seen them just keep doing this with $10,000 a couple of times a month or 7,000, whatever the case may be. So now what it does, it looks like you got, let's say you got 7,000, you did it 4 times. It looks like you running $28,000 a month through that account because they're seeing $7,000 deposits. And it's kind of weird because they don't really care what's coming out. A lot of these places look at, well, what do you have going in, right? So again, this is a way for you to kind of hack the system a little bit. All right, Sam's Club, let me point this one out. With Sam's Club, when you do the application, especially if you go inside and you do the application, they're gonna ask you to put your personal information on there. You don't have to do that. They'll process it without it. Again, if you don't have a good, strong business profile at that point, you will probably get denied. So in some case, you will want to have that personal guarantee. Now, I know some people, what they'll do with some of these cards, if they apply and they get denied, they'll just call the credit card company and say, listen, that was done in error. I did not do that, and they'll get it removed. Okay, and it's definitely easy to do. If you apply for a card and you don't actually get it, go ahead and call and try to get that thing removed. So now your inquiries don't look super high. Okay, so this is just a little list of cards that you can tap into from a no PG. Okay, and this is not your corporate cards, but again, it gives you an idea of how you can get access to some of these larger cards. Because when you're going for business funding versus personal funding, it's different. Unless you have a super high score, you might be getting, $2,000 or $3,000 here or there on your personal side, but on the business side, it's easy for you to get 10, 15, 20, 30 some thousand dollars. Like the last 2 cards I got from the business side within the last probably 90 days, one was a $33,000 cashback card from Bank of America, and the other was the blue cashback card from American Express. Okay, and again, all I did was apply, right? All right, let me give you guys some additional resources here. It was a question that was asked. Tillful, Tillful is another site that you can use to check your business credit. Tillful. And I said Dun
No,
Bradstreet.
how you spell it?
Tillful.
All right, cool beans. That was me. Appreciate it.
Okay, okay. And there's one, man, I still cannot think of it for the life of me. Man, I cannot think of that. It's gonna drive me crazy. It'll be like at midnight, and I'm like, it was Bloomberg. I'm not saying Bloomberg is it, but it'll be something like that. All right, did you guys have a good handle on what the strategy is when you're doing business or personal funding? Again, the main thing is you want to pull up multiple tabs, practice a couple of times in an incognito browser. So good, you used to typing everything in, type everything, go to your actual browser, type everything in on whatever systems or whatever cards you're going to be using. Make sure they are different bureaus. It's going to be better for you. And then go boom, 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 boom. Now, one of the things that you want to get good at is building relationships with financial institutions, okay? And what I mean by that is open up several bank accounts, right? Now, what some people do is when they open up a bank account, they'll go ahead and open up a business account and a checking account. Both business checking and business savings account. And you might put $500 in each one of them. You can transfer out if you want to, but at least put it in there, right? So now all you're doing is building that relationship. So the bank says, "Oh, okay, great. I got two trade lines with this particular person." That's good. Now, some people tell you to kind of season your account, do some transactions through there, transfer some money in and out. So they want to see some activity in there. And then in 60 to maybe 90 days or so, after they've kind of seen that relationship, then go in and say, you know what? Let me go ahead and apply for funding at that point. Most of the time, people get really hungry, they really rambunctious, they don't want to wait. They'll jump out there and they'll go ahead and start trying to get funding right out the gate. Not saying that that's wrong, but if you're going with a bank, okay, try to build that relationship a little bit. Like I've been banking with Bank of America for a very long time. Okay, I have 3 credit cards with them, totaling, I don't know, I think $70,000 worth of credit with Bank of America, right? And that's between personal and business. My Navy Federal, since my credit score was high, I didn't wait that long. I probably waited close to about a month, and I applied for the flagship card on the personal side, got $18,000. Now, if I apply for that on the business side, I'll probably get the probably 25,000 plus, because my credit score is actually, my personal credit score is really strong. Okay. Now, my Navy Federal account is linked to a new LLC that I started last year. So I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. But I do have credit established in that particular new LLC. The longer your LLC has been around, the better. Typically 2 years and above is way, 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 way good. Okay. All right. Let me check my notes here and see if there's anything else I need to pull to the table. Okay, I will point out this on Chase. Chase has this thing called 524 rule. Okay, so they don't want you having more than 5 credit cards that you took within the last 24 months. Okay, so be careful if you were jumping out there trying to get a lot of cards and you have a Chase card, especially on the personal side, because Chase is like, wait a minute, why you got this many cards? We don't like this. And you just got this in the last, 90 days or whatever, within the last year. Cool. Chase will shut you down. They'll actually probably take your card away from you. Okay. So be careful when you're jumping out there. Again, there's some cards that are good from a crypto standpoint. Bank of America, you can get 2 cards every 2 months, or you can get 3 cards every 12 months, or you can get 4 cards every 24 months. That's called a 2-3-4 rule. Okay. Amex, you can get 2 non-charge cards every 90 days. And some of these cards, like if you have the Charles Schwab card, you can get your points, and they might give you 1.25% cash back as well. So think about if you go out there and you run, I don't know, $10,000 through. That's $125. That might not seem like a lot, but what if you do that a couple times a month? Now all of a sudden you might have $300 or $400 a month you coming in cash back. You use that cash back for whatever you're trying to do. All right. Check this lenders list. Okay. Banks, credit unions, utilize credit unions as much as possible. Credit unions are typically designed for the people. Okay. Not the big banks aren't, but they're going to make their money regardless. Credit unions have to work harder to build that relationship with you. So they're more than likely going to give you more funding a lot easier. So Navy Federal used to be like the holy grail of credit unions. And again, it's still up there in the top, but you got a lot now. You got PenFed, you got NASA. Man, I got a whole list of them over here. You got Schools First Credit Union. That no, USA is not. So you have a lot of credit unions out there that are really, really good about giving you the bag. So you might jump out there and get $30,000 out the gate. Now, please be responsible if you are out there trying to get this credit. Don't just get out there getting credit just to have it, okay? One of the things that I've said here for a long time, I've always heard people, man, it's good to be in the 800 club, yada, yada, yada. And then we wear this badge of honor about having a high credit score. But your credit means nothing if you're not utilizing it. It doesn't, right? Outside of your insurance company, your car insurance company trying to get over on you because your credit might not be as good simply because they can jack the rate up because now you're riskier. It's not really doing a lot, okay? That 800 just sitting there is like money sitting in the bank. It's not doing much for you. When you learn how to utilize and leverage credit, then you step into the ball game. So when you can learn how to extract or liquidate your credit cards, whole different ball game. Liquidate your credit cards can put some cash in your pocket really quickly, and you're not subject to the cash advance fee. You know, when you go and you try to get this credit card, that cash advance fee is going to be high, and they're going to start that thing immediately. Well, when you liquidate a credit card, it's a system of you taking money off the card, and it's like a charge, not a cash advance. So now you're subject to the traditional method of them accumulating interest instead of the high cash advance interest rate. Okay. And again, that's on a different call, but I did want to kind of drip that on you guys. Any questions? Because again, I want to wrap this up. Unless y'all have questions, but again, I wanted to make sure you guys understood the strategy and how to apply and get multiple cards at the exact same time. Because if you're going to be going for it, you might as well go ahead and apply several times to give yourself the best chance of getting more across different lines.
Hey,
All right.
real quick, Jeff, I did want to just touch on this real quick.
Okay.
I do have a friend who worked, because you mentioned Navy Federal. This actually happened to me last month, but I have a friend who works in Navy Federal who was talking to us one day. We were playing poker, man, was talking about, business and credit card and everything. But they told me that you have a higher chance to be approved for Navy Federal credit card between the times of 12:30 a.m. and 4 o'clock a.m. because that's around the time they reset their system. So they really just approve whatever. And I did it one night, 1 o'clock in the morning. I stayed up 1 o'clock in the morning, and boom, within like 5 seconds, hey, you've been approved for 15 grand.
Right. That's another hack. So I thought about touching on that one, but I didn't, but I'm glad you brought it up. So cat's out the bag on that one. All right. So again, and sometimes it's not just Navy Federal. There's a couple of companies you can do that with, but Navy Federal does work. So again, between that time frame, you can slide in and you might be able to get a couple of cards depending on how you do it. And I know some people, what they'll do is they'll go apply back to back with the same card a few different times. Like literally go ahead and do it. You get that. Because remember, guys, this stuff is all automated. You're not having a person sitting on the other side waiting on you to say, okay, great, approve. It's automated. They're just looking at data points a lot of times and it's pushing through. Unless you have a freeze. When you have a freeze, then you got to speak to a person and you either got to get their freeze removed or they got to call you and do that. But utilize that hack for sure if you got Navy Federal and you're going for funding. And I was also told here recently, I guess within the last month and a half, you can now apply for business funding online with Navy Federal. They used to have it where you had to call in and I guess they verified everything from there. Now you can do it. Matter of fact, I might go ahead and try to get a card tonight on the business side using that little hack.
Hey, if you do,
I believe
let
it's
us
for a
know.
certain limit.
You say you believe what?
A certain limit, just because I know I talked to them probably about, well, it might have been a month now, and they were telling me up to a certain limit, it's you can do it online, but then over that limit, it's you actually have to call.
Yeah.
Because I was going to, because I know like I got a purchase coming up for a couple of vehicles, and they were saying that since it was over the limit, I would actually have to call since it was over that limit. But I can't remember if that applied to credit cards as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that is true because I've seen it happen where somebody thought they should have had a higher limit than what they did, and they literally called in and said, "Hey, listen, man, I only got approved for 18,000. I was trying to go for 25, or whatever the case may be." And I've known some people who've actually been able to get their stuff increased. If not, wait the 91 days, go into the system and click that increase button, and you can do it. And I think you can do even a soft pull on the increases as well. I did also find out with Chase and their 524 rule, that also applies to credit limits, which I thought was crazy. So you're not applying for a different card, but when you go apply and you try to just get your credit limit increase, that'll count against your 524 rule with Chase. And I watched a video not too long ago, and the guy was talking about how they're changing that rule up a little bit. I do not remember what the changes were, but again, you can do a quick YouTube search and you can figure out what that is. All right, any questions, y'all? Oh, you know what, man, I got a document up now that kind of talks about it. Yeah, so Chase pulls from Experian, TransUnion, Amex, Capital One pulls from Experian or Equifax. Barclays pulls from TransUnion. You can apparently get one credit card every day with Barclays. That's if you get an Aviator. And then Allianz pulls to Equifax, and that's a 2% cashback card. Listen, on some of these cards, one thing you can do from a travel hacking standpoint, if you get the Amex Platinum, you can go, it's called status matching. You can go get Diamond Preferred with like Caesars and MGM, and when you get like this top tier level with Caesars, they hook you up. They give you like a free like weekend stay or a week stay or something like that at Atlantis, or you get a cruise. And again, it's better if you have the ability to go to Vegas, because you'll need to go to MGM, put your information in there, then they can see that you have the status, and then you go over to Caesars with the same card that you just got and say, listen, I need the status match, and then you can get Caesars high level. So IHG, you can status match with them. And I think there's another one. The airlines are a lot harder to status match. But again, if you can status match with like Marriott and all these other places, why would you not go ahead and do that? It just makes sense to go ahead and hit these statuses, because it's good when you can get bumped to the front of the line, or you can get automatically upgraded to a suite or whatever, simply because. And I learned that with Amex, that's the thing that's automatic. Apparently, when you book with your Amex Platinum, they'll automatically upgrade you to higher end suites just because. I didn't know that. And I feel somewhat salty because of the amount of travel that I've done, and I've used other cards simply because I have points or whatever. But again, go out there and use these cards, use these hacks as well. I'll save this video. It'll probably go up on YouTube tonight, and I'll take that link and I'll put it inside of our group in the calendar, so people can go back there and watch that and hopefully get value. Any questions, guys? Remember, creditboards.com is that website that I went to. Go check and see what people have done and where they've gotten some success at, because again, it could be a little season where some of these cards are really liberal with lending out money. So somebody's already done the legwork and they've given you some data on what they had going on. Go ahead and use that leverage. All right.
Yo, Jeff, man, I just want to, yeah, I definitely want to say appreciate it, man. Yo, please, I'm gonna hit you up to get the video of this. I'm be up all night working on this, son.
All right, bet, yeah. As soon as it gets done, I gotta go ahead and do some editing on it so I can put my intro and all that jazz on there But once I get that done, I'll shoot it over.
All right, sounds good.
All right.